Yo, yo, yo. Is SGA having an MVP caliber season? Let's go! Let's get into it. The stats say he is. Over the last 20 plus years, he's putting up MVP stats, but going up against the competition he's going up against this year, it's an argument. It's a debate. Only 3 players have put up 30 plus points per game, 5 plus rebounds per game, 5 plus assists per game, and got 2 plus steals, shooting 50% from the field. That was, of course, Shea this season, Steph Curry in 2016, who won the MVP, and of course, the GOAT, Mike Jordan, did it 5 different times: 88, 89, 90, 91, and 92. Won the MVP 3 of those years, 88, 91, and 92. In the 3 years he didn't win, Magic won it. Of course, that was a little bit of a popularity contest back then because Magic is the man, and we all know the smile and all of that other stuff. But, you know, these numbers are generational numbers. Matter of fact, SGA is on the brink of shooting 50, 40, 90 from the field, which of course lands him on the All-NBA first team potentially this season, and he's also leading the league in steals, which is going to get him on the all-defensive team as well. He's a legitimate two-way force that hasn't slowed down all year. Matter of fact, Shea has 45 30-point games in 60 games and is on pace to finish with 62. That's 75% of his games. That hasn't happened since the merger in 1976, and no player other than Jordan has more than 57. And he's just not a 3-point chucker. He actually basically kills you in the mid-range and with layups all day, and always makes the right pass when his teammates are open. Like, he's an all-around good player, and he's a rare commodity in this type of league where everybody's just chucking up threes. Like, he gets money. Right now, Joker is the clear favorite. According to basketballreference.com, he's leading the way at like 47%. Then you got SGA at 16%. Giannis is at 13%, and Luka's in the back at like 12%, but he's averaging 34, 9, and 8. And he's in 4th place when it comes to the MVP race. So that just lets you know how steep the competition is right now. I believe that the MVP race is going to come down to whoever finished first in the West. Whoever has the best team, basically. Whoever leads their team to be the best team in the West. How about that? OKC has had a light schedule. The last 2 months, they've been in first place the whole entire time. That's a good reason why. They've been balling. They've been playing against weaker teams and definitely winning the games they should be winning. But Denver's coming. Since the All-Star break, they've won 6 in a row. They've beat everybody they play both on the road and at home, and they are coming for that #1 spot. I just happen to believe that OKC is going to hold on to it. They both have relatively weak schedules going forward, and I just think those young legs in OKC are going to persevere, and I think they're going to, get that '1 spot, which is going to get SGA his first MVP award. Let's stay tuned and see what happens. LeBron James, 40,000 points over the course of a career. I never thought I'd see a player score that many points in a career. Like, that's just taking Kareem's record and just stepping all over it. So, LeBron is definitely doing historic things. We're seeing historic things happen. This past Saturday night, another milestone. He passed 40,000 points. Like, congratulations to him. He's already the NBA's all-time leading scorer, and this season he's averaging 25 points per game at the age of 39 years old. And he's really showing no signs of slowing down. He's regarded as one of the greatest players of all times, and his scoring is not just all he does. He's such a versatile dude. He's ranked 4th in assists, 8th in steals, 31st in rebounds. He has won 4 MVP awards, 4 Finals MVP awards, and 4 championships in 21 seasons. Like, that's an accomplishment. That's a hell of a career. He has scored at least 10 points in 1,204 consecutive games, which is the longest streak in NBA history. He's played in 10 NBA Finals and has been named to 17 All-Star games, 17 All-NBA teams, and 6 All-Defensive teams. He's also off the court been an inspiration and a role model to so many young players who have come up, and he's actually playing against it in the league today. And he's also been a leader and a philanthropist off the court, using his platform as an influence to advocate for social justice and education. Like, he's definitely a role model. He's achieved something no one else has ever done and may never be done again. And he's definitely cemented his legacy as one of the greatest scorers and players of all time. Now, I'm not going to get into this GOAT debate with y'all because, we're just not going to see this eye to eye. We're just going to have to agree that we disagree. Like, LeBron is a great player. He's definitely the greatest player of this generation. If LeBron would have stayed with one team and built that team into one of the greatest teams of all time, along with never losing a championship and winning the Defensive Player of the Year award, he would be, in fact, a front runner and the greatest player of all time. But he chose to play quote, fantasy basketball. It was part of the start of the super team era. Now, admittedly, I'm biased. I'm an MJ guy. For the last 20 plus years, you guys all sat and watched LeBron play. You grew up watching LeBron. I'm the same way. I'm just a little bit older. I grew up watching MJ play. Like, MJ is my guy. And I just believe 20 plus years from now, when we're all looking at past careers, MJ's legacy will still be the legacy that defines all other legacies. LeBron's legacy is defined by longevity, consistency, and stats. MJ's legacy is defined by winning. He was a winner. He never lost. He never took L's. Like, LeBron could do as much as he can going forward to try and match that, but he's just taking too many losses. He went to 10 NBA finals and lost 6 of them. He's only got 4 rings. Mike's got 6. Went to 6 finals and won 6 times. MVP every single time. Like, you can't just deny that. You can't deny it. Like, it's a legacy that will go unmatched. Like, it'll take a hell of a player to defeat that legacy. So again, congratulations to LeBron. Like, I salute him for 40K. That's a hell of an accomplishment. And I know he's going to continue to define his legacy and add more to it as far as accolades go and stats and all these numbers. But the win-loss record is always going to be an issue for me, and that's why MJ is always going to be the best.
And Michael pulls up and buries the shot to give him a 1-point lead.
So the Paris games are going on this summer. It's going to be an extremely, fancy event in Paris, France. You know what I mean? All that, I can do that. But yeah, the USA Olympic team has announced the players they're taking with them overseas, and they've announced as locks being Devin Booker, Drew Holiday, LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, Jason Tatum, and Joel Embiid are locked in and have spots on the team. Now, the few players that are on a bubble that they also announced were Anthony Edwards, Tyrese Halliburton, Bam, and Anthony Davis. Now, me personally, I think Anthony Davis and Bam should be locks just because we need big men. We got outsized the last time we were at these games, so I think we need to bring some size with us. We do have Joel Embiid at the center position, but he's the only center we have. And Joel Embiid, it's safe to say he's a little injury prone. He's a little, what I like to call fragile. So I think we need he needs some backup. So taking Bam and AD, I think would be good ideas. I also think we need to take one more. So in total, we can take 12 different players. Right now we have 7 locked in, so that leaves 5 left over, 5 spots available. And here's my list of players that I think that are possibilities and who I think should go. Of course, they announced Ant Edwards as a possibility. I like Ant Edwards, but I don't like him on his team. I think he's redundant when you have Steph Curry, you have LeBron James, you have Kevin Durant, you have Devin Booker. We already have a lot of scorers on the team, a lot of ball dominant scorers. So I don't think Anthony Edwards is a player that needs to be on this roster. Then you have Tyrese Halliburton. I think he's a really good, strong possibility. I mean, we have 2 point guards on the roster right now with Drew Holiday and Steph Curry. They're both not assist point guards. They're more, one's a defensive point guard and one is the greatest shooter of all time. So I think we need to bring a pass first point guard with us who happens to be able to hit an open jump shot, and I think that's Tyrese Halliburton. I think he should be a lock. I think Tyrese is definitely a lock. And then of course you got Bam and AD for reasons I've already stated, because we need big men and we need a backup for Joel. So that's 3 spots already taken. That leaves 2 more available. In the 2 spots I think I would fill with those players or Ja Morant. Ja Morant is a good possibility, but I wouldn't take him just because Ja, I think, is he's not as sharp as passer as he should be, and I just don't think he'd be a good fit on the team. But I do like Scotty Barnes. Scotty Barnes is a terror in Toronto. He leads his team in all statistical categories, and he's just a really hard power forward to play against. So I think he'd be good in these Olympic Games. I like Chet Holmgren, but I just don't like him on his team either. I think he's a little bit too light to bump and grind down there with those big men. Like, he's more of a perimeter big man. Joel's enough of a perimeter big man. I don't think we need 2. And then you have Zion. I think Zion, it would be a good fit just because he's a matchup nightmare at that 4 position. There's not a lot of power forwards can stay with him when he faces the basket and goes to the basket with ill intentions. So I like Zion as well. So I think I'm gonna take Tyrese, Bam, Anthony Davis, Scotty Barnes, and Zion. Those are the 5 that I would take. I think that's a strong 5 to combine with the 7 they already have, and that will put us in a good matchup with any team in the world. We've had trouble with a lot of these teams, and I think we need to bring our A game with us. And starting with LeBron, KD, and Steph is already, we're already there, but adding that back up to them, I think will really help us going forward. But who you got? Who you think they should bring? They got 5 spots available. Who you bringing? The Philadelphia 76ers have announced that they are finally giving Allen Iverson a statue. They are putting it on a Legends Walk that's in front of the training complex in Philly. It already has statues in front of it of Charles Barkley, Wilt Chamberlain, Dr. J, Mo Cheeks, Moses Malone, Billy Cunningham, Hal Greer, Bobby Jones, and Dolph Schayes. Iverson's statue is going to be revealed April 12th. As we all know, Iverson is one of the best 6-foot guards to ever play the game. He was a 7-time All-Star who led his team to 6 different playoff appearances. He won Rookie of the Year in 1997 and Most Valuable Player in 2001 and led the Sixers to the NBA Finals that year, but lost to the Kobe Bryant and Shaq-led Lakers in 5 games. The 76ers retired Iverson's jersey in 2014, and he was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2015. The statue was well-deserved. Allen Iverson was a great player, and he basically set a legacy that defined all point guards after him. So congratulations to Allen Iverson. All right. New segment, not talked about enough. The segment's talking about players that are just not talked about enough, and we show love, give them the flowers. This week, we're talking about Nick Van Exel, aka Nick the Quick, from Kenosha, Wisconsin. Played 2 years varsity ball at a private school he went to while being raised by his moms. Once he graduated, he went to a JUCO, didn't go to D1 right away. Went to a JUCO, played 2 years there while he was getting his grades up. Once they were solid, he ended up transferring to the University of Cincinnati to play for Bob Huggins. Now, once he got there his junior year, he was able to help lead the Bearcats to the Final Four, where they lost to the University of Michigan. Shout out Jalen Rose and the Fab Five. His senior year, he averaged 18 points, 4 assists per game, and led his team to a 27-5 record. They won their league tournament and eventually advanced to the Elite Eight, but they lost to the University of North Carolina. Van Exel was 3rd team All-American his senior year and was selected by the Lakers 37th in the second round of the '93 NBA draft. He and Eddie Jones, who would be drafted the following year, would become the centerpieces in the Lakers' rebuilding post-Showtime. In his first season in the NBA, he was named to the NBA Rookie Second Team. Nick the Quick was known for his buzzer beaters, his hot streaks, and of course his speed, and legendary announcer Chick Hearn actually gave him the nickname Nick the Quick on air while watching him play. In retirement, Nick the Quick found his passion in coaching. He started off as an assistant with the Atlanta Hawks, but then moved on to the Dallas Mavericks G League affiliated team, the Texas Legends, and became head coach. Nick was a legend, one of the greatest left-handed players to play the game at the point guard position. He will be remembered on this show. Shout out Nick the Quick. All right, so this past weekend, the Boston Celtics destroyed the Golden State Warriors. Like, this was a beat down to the highest degree, 140-88. It's their 3rd 50th point win of the season, which is an all-time NBA record. It was also the 3rd biggest win in the Celtics franchise history. Draymond Green, Goon Green, was on record saying that right before the game, they decided to implement the strategy of sagging off Jaylen Brown because they felt like Jaylen Brown couldn't shoot and that would probably help them win the game. Like, what type of strategy is this? Like, the coaching staff actually agreed and signed off on that? This is a championship team, the Warriors. And their coaching staff decided, hey, let's sag off one of their all-stars and let him just shoot and see what happens. Like, this strategy is just mind-blowing to me, and it's really alarming. It's telling me that the Warriors have no idea how to fix the problem that they're in. They have no idea how to save this ship. Like, they think they can just sag off the best team's player, and then Steph Curry will just come in and just bail them out by shooting a whole bunch of threes, and they'll just win the game. Like, this is just ridiculous. Like, the Boston Celtics are a legit team. Like, you can't lay off their best player or one of their best players and think they're going to win that game in their stadium, in their arena. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. So the Warriors don't know what they're doing. Like, they're done. They're cooked. Like, they're cooked, filleted. Look, let's just be real. The Celtics are damn good. Like, they're good. Just like I told you guys a few pods ago, they have one of the easiest schedules going forward, and they're going to finish this season strong. With that being said, I think they're going to have the most pressure on them to go to the finals and win it all. With Milwaukee and Philly kind of still scrambling to put their team together with injuries and just chemistry, like, I feel like the Celtics have the best chemistry and they have the best team going forward. This team, this 2023-2024 Boston Celtics team is the best team built around the Tatum and Brown duo in this era. Like, I think this team is the best shot they have is winning it. So if they don't win it all this year, I think this will be a massive disappointment in Boston sports. All right, baseball. Let's go. Baseball. Let's get into it. Reigning NL MVP Ronald Acuna was scratched from a spring training start with knee pain. This is significant because it's an irritated meniscus, which is something that has bothered him throughout his career. Matter of fact, he tore his ACL in the same knee in 2021. He's coming off a monster 2023 season when he became baseball's first 40-70 player with 41 home runs, 73 steals, and he also led the league in on-base percentage, OPS, hits, and runs. So let's see if he can get it together and get that knee together before the season starts, because this is major. With the Dodgers coming together, their super team, like the Braves are right there, but they need their best player to be there. So, let's see what happens. And in Scott Boras news, another one of Scott Boras' top free agents signed a short-term opt-out lace deal this week. Third baseman Matt Chapman agreed to a 3-year, $54 million deal with the San Francisco Giants. This contract is less than what he was looking for and includes the option for him to basically opt out and terminate the deal after the first and second years. He is set to earn $20 million in 2024, $18 million in 2025, and $16 in 2026. These opt-outs are just opportunities for the player to move on to a better deal depending on how the season plays. And similar to what Cody Bellinger signed in Chicago, for less money, I should add, this isn't looking good for Scott Boras' clients. Scott Boras' top pitching clients, Jordan Montgomery and Blake Snell, are still remaining free agents, and they're still out there looking for a deal. And it looks like they're going to take a deal similar to this one, being short-term and laced with opt-outs. Boras said this week that 4 teams have reached out to him about Monty and Snell, but still have signed nowhere. At this point, both of these pitchers would not be ready for the start of the season, and it is a shame. Caitlin Clark broke the NCAA scoring record this past weekend. She also announced that she was declaring for the WNBA draft, so congratulations to her, and congratulations to the Indiana Fever, who are going to have the number 1 pick this season and will probably end up drafting her, and they're going to combine her with the number 1 pick of last year, Aaliyah Boston. So that's going to be a duo to watch in the upcoming WNBA season. Caitlin Clark was actually able to meet Maya Moore backstage after the game, and that was a treat to see, because it's great to see that, and it reminds you that these are just kids playing the game, and she met her idol. She met somebody that she looks up to, has a kid, has a player coming up in the league, and Maya Moore is a great player herself. So it's definitely great to see that. But just to note, the record that she broke was not actually Pistol Pete's record. There's actually a player that set a higher record that she's yet to meet. That player is named Pearl Moore. She is a part of the AIAW, which is the Association for Intercollegiate Athletics for Women. And basically, the NCAA does not include those scoring records as a part of its record book, and which is why Clark and Moore hold different records. But the NCAA should include that record as a part of their record, because it was something that counted, and the 2 conferences merged back in the 80s. So, technically it should be part of the NCAA. Moore was a baller. She set the record with no 3-point shot. She averaged 30 points per game playing for Francis Marion University in 4 years playing, and scored less than 20 points in the game in 18 of 28 collegiate games she played. Like, she is really a great player and needs to be recognized. Like, Pistol Pete was definitely the man. Caitlin Clark is definitely do her thing, but we got to recognize this sister Pearl Moore, who was a baller and definitely did her thing back in the day. All right, in off-court news, your boy Buddy Hield, new member of the Philadelphia 76ers, actually held practice at his mansion. That's right, a player held practice for a professional team at their mansion. These dudes make money. Look at this man's house. Full court gym, huge swimming pool, and all the facilities you need to host a pro team's practice. It's really amazing to me how far players have come and the money they make playing a child's game. Buddy Hield signed a 4-year, $94 million contract with the Sacramento Kings. It includes $85 million in guaranteed money and an annual average salary of $23 million. In 2023-2024, he will earn a base salary of $18 million and an incentive bonus of $1.2 million, while carrying up to a cap of $19 million and a dead cap value of $18 million. These numbers are just unreal. Back in the 90s, there wasn't a player not named Michael Jordan that could pull this off, and now you have mid guys like Buddy Hield getting big bags. I swear, in my next lifetime, please make me a professional athlete so I'm making all this money, because this is just ridiculous. Speaking of big bags, Russell Westbrook put his towards building 180 affordable housing units in South Los Angeles. The housing development plans to build an on-site where the Los Angeles riots happened. The Westbrook-backed project will include a seed school and community-centered businesses, and new jobs will be available for residents. The overall mission is to play a role in shifting the narrative of South Central Los Angeles by leading with a civil and community engagement. Westbrook founded the Russell Westbrook Why Now Foundation in 2012, and this is an awesome development and an awesome thing that Russell Westbrook is doing for his neighborhood, being a LA native. Shout out Russell Westbrook. Shout out. All right, let's get into fantasy. With your fantasy. Yo, that's off the gang-related soundtrack. It's a song called With Your Fantasy by the Dog Pound. Just so you know, learn something new every day. But yo, your boy Russell Westbrook fractured his hand. Fractured hands are going around this second half of the NBA season, unfortunately. But he fractured his hand in the game just this past week. It looks like to me, Bones Highland's going to get some more play, and Norm Powell is going to be a valuable asset for them going forward. I think that's a guy to pick up if he's not already picked up in your league. Russell Westbrook was just averaging about 11, 5, and 4, shooting 45% and 26 from 3. So he really wasn't doing too much. And given the nature of the injury, because he's probably going to have surgery as a result of this fractured hand, you could probably drop him in your league. I would definitely drop him and pick up somebody else who is a little bit more valuable to you going forward, especially with the playoffs coming up. Devin Booker sprained his ankle this past week as well. It really didn't look that bad. It looked like a slight sprain. It was, I think he should only be out maybe 7 to 10 days. They didn't even take an MRI on it, so I think he just bruised up his ankle real good. It just goes to show the trouble the Phoenix Suns are having. Like, the Phoenix Suns have only played 23 games with Booker, Durant, and Beal on the floor at the same time. They've gone 14-9 in those games, so it's not really going too well in Phoenix when it comes to that big three and injuries. They're struggling. Scotty Barnes fractured his hand. That's a big injury for the Toronto Raptors. Like, they were already barely hanging on. They're not in the playoff contention, but they were definitely factoring in because they were beating teams that were still fighting. But him fracturing his hand is huge because he led that team. He's one of the few players in the league. He's actually the only player in the league that's leading his team in points, rebounds, assists, blocks, and steals. 5 different categories he's leading his team in, and he's now fractured his hand. Chances are he's probably going to need surgery on that hand, so he's probably done for the season. Like I've been saying, there aren't really too many assets on their team as far as fantasy goes, but I take a hard look at Grady Dick. If he's, happens to be out there, he's a good player. You might want to, maybe pick up if you're desperate and need some production. Quickly is a good player too, but I'm sure he's probably taken. And, RJ Barrett, obviously inconsistent, but definitely a good player. But I'm sure they're probably already scooped up in most legit leagues. But, like I've been saying, the Raptors aren't really a good team fantasy wise, but if you're desperate, those are players to look at. Jalen Brunson went out with a knee injury this past week. It didn't look too bad. I don't feel like he's going to be out too long, but You just add that to the amount of injuries they've already had on that team, and they're having a tough time at it. But I think, they're probably really feeling the pain of that trade they made for OG, because they gave up quickly. They gave up Barrett. They gave a lot of their depth up, which basically left them in a position where they have to lean heavily on Josh Hart and Dante for production going forward. But I don't think JB should be out too long, but it's definitely something to look out. If Dante happens to be out there, I would definitely pick up Dante. I know Josh Hart shouldn't be available in any leagues, but if he is, definitely pick him up. And my last bit of news fantasy wise, Joel Embiid has just, it's been a report put out that he's actually lifting weights at 100%, which is great news. He should start shooting around within the next week or so. So I would expect him to come back, within the next week or so, and that could factor into Philly's plans of, if somebody in your league happened to drop Joel Embiid after all these injuries he's had, I would definitely run and go pick him up, because Joel Embiid is going to be on a mission to get back in shape, so that way he can be ready for the playoffs, which means he's going to be producing a lot when it comes to fantasy stats. So I would definitely look at picking him up. That's all I got for fantasy. Holla! Sneaker of the week, sneaker of the week, sneaker of the week. Shout out all the sneakerheads, man. I hope y'all are enjoying this. I just love sneakers. I love shouting them out. Like, they're probably a lot of shoes that people already have, but just in case those who are aspiring sneakerheads and might not know what's what, we're going to put them up on game a little bit. This week, we're talking about the Jordan 6, the infrared Jordans. These are some of my favorite Jordans. Let me get them out. The Jordan 6s, fresh. I got a few pair of these I keep around just because I love these shoes so much. These are some of my favorite shoes. Tinker released these. No, Tinker designed these, and they were released in 1991. They basically are the shoes Jordan wore during his first championship during 1991 against the Lakers. He was rocking these shoes, so they mean a lot to me just because they're the shoes that he wore when he won his first championship, when he finally crossed that finish line. These are the kicks he had on, so this is really dope. They're one of the most iconic shoes that are out. Matter of fact, they came in 5 different colorways. My 2 favorite colorways are these and the maroons. I got some maroons too. Like the maroons, like they were dope as well. Like, these shoes are classic shoes. Like, matter of fact, they're so classic that a film that we all love that came out back in the early 90s, late 80s, Batman, the costume designers, when they were trying to figure out what type of shoes Batman were going to wear in the movie, he actually were rocking a variation of these Sixers. They basically came to Tinker and they asked him, what type of design would he suggest they use for the Batman costume, and he showed them this design. So, that just shows you how dope this shoe is. Like, this is one of the most iconic shoes that come out, and I love rocking them every time I rock them. Definitely cop a pair, and please, you see the Nike Air on the back? These shoes were the last shoes to have the Nike Air on the back. After these shoes, Jordan decided that he wanted to, kind of build up his own brand, and that's where the Jumpman came into play. So any shoe before the 6s that doesn't have the Nike Air, again, is invalid just because the OGs have the Nike Air. But after the 6s, you didn't really see too much Nike Air, and you saw more Jumpman. So, that's just a little history I wanted to give you guys real quick. But infrared Jordan 6s, cop when they drop. Holla. Yo, album of the week. This week we got Cardo, gang related. Cardo is a Texas via Minnesota, but he's basically a producer that's worked with Drake. He's worked with Travis Scott. He put out a classic album with Payroll Giovanni called Big Boston. Payroll Giovanni is a Detroit underground rapper that's really dope, up and coming. I'm gonna cover him next week too, because I got an album I listen to as well as from him. But basically, this album is a collab album, even though it says Cardo on the front. It's basically a collab album and it features Larry June, Payroll, and a rapper called Kid HBK. And it's a West Coast sounding album. Cardo likes to play with synths and funky slow bass lines, and this definitely rolls. Like, this is one of those albums you roll to listening. If you imagine rolling up Crenshaw. If you're not from LA, Crenshaw is it's a strip in LA, in South Central LA, where you just roll. You shine up your car real good, and you basically put down all the windows, pump your system up and let the bass roll, let the bass hit. And this album is definitely one of those albums that you just kind of roll to. Like, it's definitely, it's got that feel to it. So I really enjoy this album. I think it's something that you need to keep in your rotation. It's been in my rotation since the pandemic. It came out in 2020, came out in January 2020, I want to say. And it's been in my rotation ever since then. You know, Cardo is one of those up and coming producers I think that's really going to make some noise going forward. You know, he's already making noise working with Drake and Travis Scott, but this album, I think for him is going to do, you know, has done real well for him, and he's got a couple other albums that have been out as well. So, you know, go cop this. Get Cardo, Game Related. All right, that's it. That's the show. Another week, another show. Appreciate y'all for stopping in. Appreciate y'all for listening. Everybody have a good week. Stay blessed. Holla.